Before we actually get into the presentation, there's a few words that I'd like to say to kind of honoring the American flag and to kind of tie that in with our veterans that have served and are still serving today. There's a story that I like telling at veteran events about my dad. He served 23 years in the Army and retired. Always had a flag flying in the front yard. He's passed away now. We have 3 flags flying at his grave. He would whoop us if we didn't. But he and I were working together years ago out at Oscar Mayer. We were working midnight shift. And we got off one morning and we were on the way home. And he looked over, and it was about 7 o'clock, and he looked over at the Sherman Airport. And here's an American flag out there. And, of course, it had a spotlight on it. Everything was okay except the flag was tattered and torn. And I'll never forget Dad saying, "I can't wait till I get home." And I said, "Dad, don't do it. Whatever you do, don't do it." Because I knew by Dad, 23 years in the Army, 4 years drill sergeant, I knew what he... So we get home, and I dropped him off, and my curiosity got the best of me. I had to go in and just kind of put my ear to the wall. And I heard him a few times very distinctly raise his voice, and he walked out of his office at his house and smiling, and I said, "What did you do?" He said, "Nothing." I said, "What did you do?" He said, "I got in touch with the mayor of Sherman." I said, "Dad, you can't just call the mayor of Sherman." He said, "Well, I called him and I said, 'Sir, with all due respect, get that flag down and put a new one up, or I'll do it myself.'" Well, we went to work that night, and the next morning when we drive by the airport, brand new flag flying out there. So I know how much the flag means to our veterans, especially what we call our greatest generation, men and women who have gone before us and have served World War I, World War II, the Korean War. I know that the American flag it means something to all of us, but I know it especially means a lot to each one of you. I'd just like to read a few short facts about the American flag. The United States flag is the 3rd oldest of the national standards of the world. It's older than the Union Jack of Britain, and it's older than the tricolor of France. The flag was first authorized by Congress June 4th, 1777. This date is now observed as Flag Day throughout America. The flag was first flown from Fort Stanwix on the site of the present city of Rome, New York on August 3rd, 1777. It was first under fire 3 days later on August 6, 1777. So 3 days after our flag began representing our country, it started taking fire. The colors of the flag may be thus explained. The red is for valor, zeal, and fervency. The white for hope, purity, cleanliness of life, and rectitude of conduct. The blue, the color of heaven, for reverence to God, loyalty, sincerity, justice, and truth. The United States flag is unique in the deep and noble significance of its message to the entire world. A message of national independence, of individual liberty, of idealism, and of patriotism. The flag first rose over 13 states along the Atlantic seaboard with a population of some 3 million people. Today it flies over 50 states extended across the continent and over great islands of 2 oceans, and over 300 million just from the United States alone owe its allegiance. It has been brought to this proud position by love and sacrifice. Citizens have advanced it, and heroes have died for it. It is the sign made visible of the strong spirit that has brought liberty and prosperity to the people of America. It is the flag of all of us alike. Let us accord it honor and loyalty, as well as those who have worn a military uniform and perform honorable duty protecting this flag of our great nation. At this time, I'd like to introduce J.J. Phoenix with Hot 107.3 Radio, and J.J. is going to read the bio on Mr. Schnieder.
All right. Walter Schnieder was born December 3rd, 1920, to Allie and Elo Schnieder. He was the oldest of 8 children, 3 boys, 5 girls. Walter has always lived a life of service, first to his parents, working with his siblings, farming during the very difficult times of drought and later on the Depression. After graduating from Howell High School, Walter joined the Civilian Conservation Corps and served in Phoenix. He sent most of his earnings to his parents. After Pearl Harbor was attacked, he and his eldest sister, who lived in California, came home to Howell for Christmas to visit, knowing it may be a long time till they could be all together again. Walter joined the service in 1942 and served in the Navy for 3.5 years. He spent most of his time overseas, much of the time in American Samoa. Although he contracted a severe eye infection, requiring a lot of time in a military hospital, Walter achieved the rank of 3rd class petty officer, carpenter's mate. Both of his younger brothers, Norman and Glenn, also served in the military. After leaving the Navy, Walter married and eventually returned to Howell and had a son and a daughter. He continued to be active in community service. In the 1960s, Walter started a girls' track team. His Road Runner team won many races, including cross-country meets. Today, in '94, Walter remains his positive attitude towards showing pride in all that he does and his extended family as well. He enjoys living in an apartment and with his nephew Philip and wife Jana. Okay, it says Jana. I'm sorry. His wife Jana. On their land and their country, visiting his youngest sister, Betty Williams, and also watching his great nieces and great-grandchildren grow up. He's also a heck of a 42 domino player.
Thank you, JJ. At this time, I'd like to introduce Allison, who is going to, her along with some other family made the nomination, and she was wanting to explain why they wanted to nominate Walter for Texoma Hero. Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Walt has gone through many things in his life that has never gotten him down or something like that. He's 94 years young. He is always going and doing the work of the soul. He still drives and gets around like he's 60. Walt is something. He's sharp as a whip and can tell you anything about building a house, or pretty much anything else for that matter. I asked him one day, "So Walt, what is your secret for life?" He smiled and said, "Never stop moving." That is so true. Walt is a character. He can tell you the best and the funniest stories, especially fish stories. He is very much an outside person. He loves to fish and just be outside to get fresh air, listen to the birds, and watch the funny and crazy squirrels. Walt is such a very special and wonderful person, not only to his family and friends, but to everyone who has ever met him. He will tell you that he feels like the luckiest person in the world, but in reality, we are the lucky ones. It is an honor for me to say and to know that I am a part of his family. This is why I nominated Walter Schnieder.
Walt, can we ask you to come front and center? We're not going to have you raise your right hand or nothing like that.
Join in the Hero band. He wants a sword in here.
time, we'd like to present this Memorial American flag to Walt for his service to our country. And Walt, would like to say on behalf of a grateful nation and your family, thank you for your service, and we appreciate everything that you've done, sir.
Walt, on behalf of the American Legion and everyone else, the radio, the hospice, we all want to thank you for your service, and it's an honor and a privilege to give you this plaque today, honoring your service. Thank you.
We're not done. I love the name Walter, by the way. My dog before his name is named Walter. On behalf of Compassionate Care Hospice, I hope you don't need us anytime soon. You don't look like you will. And on behalf of the ladies of Poetry United Methodist Church, who range in age from 88 to 103, who make these blankets every week, we thank you for your service. The ladies thank you for your service. And I hope this takes the chill out of today. It's a little chilly. And God bless you. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your service. Can I have a hug today?
Yes, you do.
You got one more.
Got a lot of loot.
There we go. We have another presentation we'd like to do today. Bonham Chrysler would like to present to Walt.
Walter, Cindy, and on behalf of Bonham Chrysler, we're serving our country. We'd like to give you a check for $250 and a goodie bag.
Lunch is on Walt.
Bye.
All right.
Well, we're at this time. I would like to go ahead and close and say thank you to Compassionate Care Hospice, to Hot 107, to Rob, to JJ for helping make this possible. Bonham Chrysler, to Stacy and Melissa, Landmark Bank, and especially to our guest of honor today, Walt, for his service to our country. And at this time, that concludes our program. And if you would like to get pictures or more pictures, I'm sure.